capable of overrunning military bases south of Mogadishu and inflicting heavy losses on Somali and AMISOM forces. Yet in recent days, Al-Shabaab has suffered heavily in the north and central Somalia. In Puntland, around 170 were killed and others captured and paraded on television.
We have set a perfect counterterrorism model for other regions of Somalia. We have told Al-Shabaab that Puntland will not be their safe haven.
And another 115 or so militants were killed in the central region of Galmudug. In both regions, the civilian population played a big role, and Somalia's president wants his people to learn from that.
Al-Shabaab has shown that it wants to expand its areas of operation. We as a government will help regional states in the fight against Al-Shabaab. We will continue with similar operations across the country.
Analysts say the Somali army and the African Union also could learn.
Puntland and Gamaldag forces have set a perfect example. These are soldiers that were trained in Somalia. Puntland has a competent, strong force, not clan militia. The Puntland forces are loyal and determined to make Puntland peaceful. AMISOM needs to learn from the Puntland forces.
For people here in Mogadishu, the reports from Puntland and Galmudug are encouraging, proof that Al-Shabaab can be defeated by a homegrown army. Abdul Aziz Bilo, CCTV, Mogadishu, Somalia.
Well, let's discuss these gains further. We are joined live from here, of course, in our Nairobi studios, but Dr. Mustafa Ali, he's a conflict resolution expert. Dr. Ali, thank you very much for joining us. So obviously, this is the most significant loss yet suffered by the Al-Shabaab. What are some of the factors working against them?
Yeah, Penina, one is miscalculation on the part of Al-Shabaab, which has been attacking and successfully saw the AMISOM forces, particularly the Ugandans, Burundians, and Kenyans. They thought that they would do the same and continue with that streak of success, but they miscalculated and went right into an ambush by those forces that attacked them and killed them in the northern parts of Somalia. That's one. The second bit here is that the groups within that region where Al-Shabaab has been hit are more cohesive in the way they are hunting down Al-Shabaab, the way they are fighting, compared to those groups that are in southern parts of Somalia.
So why then can't AMISOM and the Somali forces replicate this success south of the country?
They actually have been doing that in the last a few weeks, especially after Al-Shabaab attacked the Kenyan camp in El Ade. Now, what has happened is that AMISOM, and in particular the KDF, has been waging offensive missions on Al-Shabaab. Now, but then in the last few months, what we've seen here is that the Somali National Army and the AMISOM have not been working very closely together. Secondly, the support that has been going to AMISOM, in particular from a European Union, has reduced drastically, and this has affected the troop morale on the ground.
Right. So when we talk about lasting peace in the region, how can that be achieved?
Well, at the end of the day, Somalis have to fix their country. It's going to be rather difficult, in particular, if AMISOM is the one that is going to be depended on to address conflict in Somalia. AMISOM has been attacked severely by Al-Shabaab, and they've been mounting counterattacks and destroying the networks of Al-Shabaab in various parts of Jubaland, South Central Somalia. Now, in the event that AMISOM also attacks affect civilians, and no doubt that there will be collateral damage. The civilian population will definitely rise against AMISOM, and this is going to probably give Al-Shabaab an upper hand. It's a very difficult balance that AMISOM has to do.
Yeah, and of course there's been calls for the UN to elevate AMISOM to the status of UN, like the UN missions we've seen across the world. Do you think, in your opinion, this is likely to happen?
It has to happen if Al-Shabaab is really going to be put down. Right now, what you have is AMISOM troops are not sufficiently equipped. Their capacity is not sufficient to really defeat Al-Shabaab and give Al-Shabaab that knockout punch. It's going to take much more financial resources, human capacity, troop level, including a surge in Somalia for them to defeat Al-Shabaab.
Yeah, but I think the feeling in Kenya has been that perhaps the world has abandoned, that's the word that's been used here and there, has abandoned Kenya and the countries fighting Al-Shabaab in Somalia. And I do remember the Kenyan president at some point saying, peace and stability here means, of course, for the rest of the world as well. Is the world taking Al-Shabaab as a serious threat, as we do, say, for instance, Boko Haram or ISIS?
The international community has not abandoned Kenya. What it has done with the a recent reduction in support from the EU is that those countries seems to be focusing more attention on ISIS. And focusing more attention on ISIS, it means that they are leaving Al-Shabaab to African Union, Kenya, Ethiopia, and the regional powers to fix that problem. Of course, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Al-Shabaab is going to come up again, and there are pointers that ISIS is going to infiltrate and is going to set up camps closer home if we don't pay more attention to address the Al-Shabaab threat in the region.
All right, let's leave it there for now.
Thank you.
Dr. Mustafa Ali, thank you for joining us here in studio.